And I've worked in immigration before with the province, and I understand, and a level of understanding what you're going through. But I'm heartened to hear and pleased to hear that there are many things that we can agree with, that the delegation spoke of. That in fact, there are no inhibitions to receiving city services. The city manager spoke to that. We do not have any, we don't speak to the issue on immigration or when you access any kind of service whatsoever. And I'm proud of that. And this is an issue of education, which I'll get to in a moment, but that's good to know. The police service never asks people for their immigration status when they go door to door. I spoke to Troy Hagan. I spoke to the current chief of police. They do not ask that question. It's not their responsibility. And that's an important element to remember here. So I think the issue, at least in part, in reading some comments in the media, on social media, is that the reaction to this, I guess, access with fear or sanctuary cities, that notion, comes from the concern of what President Trump is doing in the United States. That people can come into Canada, and all of a sudden they'll be questioned and thrown out of Canada. And very quickly, those who came through Manitoba have all received hearings. They have not been sent back to the U.S. In fact, those who are most in danger, lost their fingers, are now staying in Canada. We have the best immigration system in Canada, and it's not perfect, but it's very good. No one was turned back to the U.S., even from the United States. So it's important to see that. So I looked at the motion, I thought, as the wording goes, there's some concerns I have, because it really talks about preventing something that doesn't take place. Prevent us, make sure that you don't ask questions about someone's immigration status, that you train people to us not to do it. We don't do it now anyway. We don't do it. That's important. We work with the Open Door Society about the kinds of people that we're seeing. When the Syrians came here, we worked, as a city of Regina, worked to help them go to the Open Door Society, help them be integrated there and find work and find a place to live. We were there with them all the time. There was never a question of, well, if you say something wrong, you're going to be in trouble. So I looked at the motions here, and I'm not going to go through each one of them. I do share the concern about the label. The moniker to me, it states that we have living issues about how we administer our services and programs, and for me, I don't accept that. Certainly, when I look at the cost expense of a review, a feedback mechanism, public education, I can live with some of that. But a designated liaison to work with the community, where we already are not asking those questions about immigrants. We can certainly talk about educating people. And that's what the city manager spoke of quite well. But I want to raise the issue of ask members to look at recommendation number 6.6. With respect to the police services, we cannot politicize the police service. We cannot ask them to do anything. Now, the Board of Commissioners, police services can do that. So in fact, this recommendation, and I want to confirm this with the clerk and the solicitor, is actually out of order. You cannot do this. The last thing that you want in this country are politicians telling the police service what to do. That's the last thing we want. You keep us out of that. Let them do their own work. So to the clerk and to the solicitor, if I could ask that question about this being out of order.
Mr. Clerk? Mr. Deputy Mayor, my review of the Police Act as well as the bylaw respecting the Board of Police Commissioners does make it clear that only the Board of Police Commissioners can direct policy or anything with respect to the operations of the police. And the bylaw further states, on a somewhat related matter, that the city manager cannot do anything to encroach upon what the chief of police would do. So therefore, based on my understanding of the Police Act, and I will ask Mr. Wary for his comments, based on that, I would rule that that particular section 6 of the motion would be out of order.
Mr. Wary?
Mr. Deputy Mayor, the clerk has summarized the governance principles in the Police Act. Council's authority with respect to police relates solely to passing the budget on an annual basis. And so the clerk is correct that council doesn't have any legislative or political authority to direct the police service in how it would conduct its operations.
So if this motion passes, Mr. Deputy Mayor, I'd ask that that would be removed as being onboarded. But more importantly, and very quickly, lastly here, we talk about that we don't share immigration information outside of the department, city department. We don't do it now anyway. So to say not to do it is we don't do it. We direct immigration, citizen immigration only collected when asked for by federal law. We don't do that. So why are we asking us not to do that? So
that a future government doesn't do it.
I look forward to a referral motion in terms of moving this forward to a discussion on immigration as more aptly put to the province and federal government in terms of immigration. But I do think perhaps Councillor Young may be involved in this one in terms of an education component more directly tied to ensuring that that those newcomers to Canada, no matter what their status, would understand that they have free, unfettered access to city services. So as is written, I can't support the motion for the reason I've stated. The intent, the purpose behind it, I'm completely with you, absolutely 100% with you, but the wording takes us down a path I'm not prepared to go to at this point. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
100% means 0 in his world.